The cold, metallic floor sent shivers up his spine. Ben blinked, squinting against the harsh green glow of the alien chamber. The last thing he remembered was hiking in the Appalachian woods, his peaceful solitude shattered by a blinding light and the strange sensation of floating. Now, he was here wherever here was. The air was thick with the acrid scent of unfamiliar chemicals, and eerie whispers echoed through the cavernous space. He could barely move, his wrists shackled to the cold steel table beneath him. Around him, towering figures with glistening obsidian skin and too many eyes observed him in eerie silence. Ben's heart pounded. His mind raced through every alien abduction story he'd ever heard, gruesome experiments, probes, and mysterious disappearances. He couldn't let that be his fate. Every nerve screamed at him to escape, but the restraints dug into his skin, their cold bite a cruel reminder of his helplessness. Sacrifice? Experimentation? Whatever it was, he didn't plan on sticking around to find out. But struggling only made the cuffs tighten, sending a sharp pulse of pain through his wrists. A guttural voice sliced through the tension. The human is awake. Prepare the ritual. The words weren't spoken but rather pressed directly into his mind, and they carried an authority that brooked no defiance. Ritual? Ben swallowed hard. He forced himself to remain calm, watching as a robed figure approached, bearing a blade that pulsed with a sickly blue glow. The alien tilted its head, observing him with an unsettling curiosity. What do you want from me? Ben's voice was hoarse, but it carried defiance. The alien paused, as if surprised he could speak. You, human, are to be offered to the great void. It is an honor. Honor? Ben let out a nervous laugh. Sorry, but I'd rather not. The alien priest didn't respond. Instead, it raised the blade above Ben's chest. Panic flooded his veins. His mind raced. Think, Ben, think. Wait, he blurted. You don't want to sacrifice me yet. I have skills. Skills your kind might find valuable. The aliens exchanged glances, their many eyes blinking in unison. The one holding the blade hesitated. Explain. Ben took a deep breath. Humans have unique skills, things your kind might find useful. We're adaptable. We know things about relaxation, comfort, things that could benefit your species. I can show you. He had no idea where this was going, but he was desperate. Another alien stepped forward, their obsidian skin reflecting the glow of the hovering orbs above. This is a deception. Human trickery. I assure you, it's not, Ben said quickly. Give me a chance to prove it. If I fail, you can go ahead with your ritual. The priest lowered the blade slightly. And what exactly do you propose to demonstrate? Ben swallowed. Massage. The chamber fell into an eerie silence, punctuated only by the low hum of the alien machinery. Finally, the priest stepped back. Very well, human. Your skills will be tested. If you fail to impress the elders, your fate remains sealed. Ben let out a shaky breath. Deal, he said, though doubt gnawed at the edges of his mind. Moments later, he found himself in an expansive chamber draped with deep red fabrics that pulsated as if alive. The alien designated as his test subject lay awkwardly on an elongated surface, its multiple limbs twitching with uncertainty. Ben took another breath, struggling to push aside the surreal weight of his predicament, the sheer impossibility of massaging an alien to save his life. If he could convince them that human touch was more valuable than his blood, he might just make it out alive. His hands trembled as he pressed them against the alien's obsidian skin, which was surprisingly warm and pliable beneath his fingertips. He moved instinctively, kneading gently, feeling for tension, adapting his technique as he went. The alien shuddered at first, a strange warbling sound escaping from deep within its chest. What is this sensation? The alien croaked. Relaxation, Ben replied, trying to keep his voice steady. Trust me, you'll feel better than you ever have before. The alien's muscles tensed beneath Ben's hands, shuddering in response to his touch. He kept his touch firm but cautious, unsure of how much pressure this species could tolerate. The chamber remained eerily silent, save for the faint hum of the overhead orbs that pulsed with a rhythmic glow. The other aliens watched with unblinking eyes, their expressions unreadable. Ben focused, using what little he knew from a single massage class and a few online tutorials. He kneaded the alien's flesh, feeling for the tightness he assumed was stress if aliens even had stress. "How does it feel?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The alien beneath him let out a long, resonating hum that vibrated through the chamber. The watching figures leaned forward slightly, their collective interest piqued. Ben glanced nervously at them, but the alien on the table spoke first. "Unexpected," it rumbled. "Your touch, it alters the pressure within my form." Ben furrowed his brow, unsure if that was a good thing. "Alters it in a bad way?" "It is pleasing," the alien admitted, a deep exhalation following the words. "Continue." Ben swallowed his relief and pressed on, his hands working the alien's shoulders. Slowly, he noticed the rigid tension in the creature's form easing, its previously stiff appendages relaxing into the surface beneath it. A low, almost musical vibration echoed from deep within its body. The priest who had nearly sacrificed him stepped forward, eyes narrowing with a calculated intensity, his movements deliberate and measured. "It would seem, the human possesses capabilities beyond our understanding." "Told you," Ben muttered under his breath. He couldn't believe this was working, but he wasn't about to stop now. A different alien, taller and more ornate in its adornments, gestured with a flick of its elongated fingers. "If this technique can soothe the body's form, perhaps it can enhance our warriors. The upcoming war demands more endurance." Ben's hands froze mid-motion. His heart pounded. "War?" The priest nodded. "Yes. Against the Corvith Dominion. Our forces suffer from bodily strain. You will assist." Ben resumed his massage, his hands steady but his mind racing with uncertainty and fear. Great, not only was he massaging an alien, but now he was somehow drafted into their military wellness program. Still, if it kept him alive, he'd roll with it. "I mean, sure, but I'm going to need more information," he said carefully. "Every species is different. I'd have to learn how your anatomy works to really be effective." The tall alien exchanged glances with the priest, then nodded. "We will grant you access to our medical archives. Study well, human. Your survival depends on it." Ben forced a grin. "Great. No pressure." The tension in the room lessened as the alien beneath him emitted a deep, resonant sound. Pleasure, maybe? Whatever it was, Ben took it as a win. He was no longer on the sacrificial chopping block. For now. As he continued working, the other aliens began murmuring amongst themselves, speculating about the potential of his newfound skill. Ben, meanwhile, was already planning his next move. He needed to understand what he was dealing with fast. If a massage could save his life, he had to perfect it, his survival depended on it. Ben's mind reeled as the towering aliens marched him into a dimly lit chamber, where strange, pulsing orbs emitted a low hum and cast eerie, shifting shadows that danced across the walls. A massive alien, draped in intricate armor with bioluminescent veins coursing across its skin, loomed before him. This was clearly no ordinary warrior, this was a general. "Human," the general's voice resonated deep within Ben's chest. "You will now demonstrate your skill on me. Our warriors must be at peak efficiency for the upcoming battle." Ben swallowed hard. The general's formidable frame towered over him, its bulk layered with rigid sinews and pulsing bioluminescent veins that throbbed in an almost rhythmic cadence, exuding an aura of raw power. This one was larger, its muscles more rigid, layered in thick plates of sinewy material that flexed ominously. Yeah, sure," Ben muttered, wiping his sweaty palms on his pants. "I'll do my best, but I might need a little guidance. I mean, I'm not exactly an expert in alien anatomy." The general grunted, lowering itself onto the designated surface. "You will learn. Quickly." Ben took a deep breath, stepping closer. His hands trembled as he pressed into the general's tough exterior, feeling an underlying tension coiled beneath the surface. The alien's breathing was slow and deep, almost like the hum of a distant engine. As he worked his fingers along the contours of the hardened muscle, he found knots, if they could even be called that, hidden beneath the dense layers. A thick, expectant silence settled over the room, punctuated by the general's occasional deep, guttural grunts that seemed to vibrate through the very walls. The watching aliens observed with intense curiosity, their eyes reflecting the dim glow of the chamber. Ben adjusted his technique, applying steady pressure in slow, circular motions. A deep, resonant rumble reverberated through the general's body. More pressure, the general demanded. Ben hesitated, then leaned in, pushing harder. Sweat dripped down his forehead as he fought against the unyielding mass. His arms ached, but slowly, he felt the alien's form responding. The rigid plates seemed to relax, shifting under his touch. Impressive, the general finally rumbled, the tension visibly dissipating from its massive frame. Your methods are effective. Ben exhaled sharply, his chest tightening as the crushing reality of his precarious position gnawed at the edges of his thoughts, fueling his rising anxiety. Glad to hear it. So, does this mean I'm not on the chopping block anymore? The priest stepped forward, his many eyes locked onto Ben. Your value has increased, human. But your fate is not yet secured. The elders will decide. Ben nodded, wiping his hands. Okay, so, what's next? The general rose to its full height, towering over him once more. You will continue your work on our forces. If you can optimize our warriors' endurance and resilience, you may prove indispensable. Ben forced a smile. Indispensable sounds good. He was led into another chamber, this one filled with a dozen alien warriors in various states of rest and preparation. Some watched him with narrowed eyes and rigid postures, their limbs tense and coiled, while others studied him with a guarded curiosity, their alien expressions inscrutable. Ben flexed his hands, preparing for what would undoubtedly be the longest, strangest day of his life. As he moved to his first subject, he couldn't help but wonder how long could he keep this up before they realized he was just a guy with no idea what he was doing. Ben's hands ached, fatigue gnawing at his muscles as he tended to the last of the alien warriors. Each knot of tension he released seemed to pull him deeper into their trust, yet the weight of their expectations pressed heavier on his shoulders. The general watched in silence, his piercing gaze a constant reminder that failure was not an option. As Ben finished, the warriors stood, rolling their shoulders and flexing their limbs with a newfound fluidity. The murmurs among them grew louder, words of approval, intrigue, and something else, respect. Ben wiped the sweat from his brow, his heart pounding with a mix of exhaustion and anticipation, barely catching his breath before the priest stepped forward. Human, the priest intoned, you have proven useful, but the elders require more. Your fate remains undecided. Ben sighed, exhaustion evident in every fiber of his being. Look, I've done what you asked. I've helped your warriors. But if you want more from me, we need to talk about something in return. The aliens exchanged glances, their many eyes blinking in tandem. The general's lips curled slightly, a sign Ben had learned to recognize as approval. Speak, the general said. Ben inhaled sharply. In my world, people aren't just used and discarded. We thrive through cooperation and mutual respect. We cooperate, we build relationships, and we find common ground. I didn't just massage your warriors, I gave them relief, helped them perform better. That's what humans do, we adapt, we solve problems. But I can't do that if I'm treated like a prisoner. The priest's expression darkened. You would dare to bargain with us? Ben met the alien's gaze, his voice steady. I dare to offer you something better. A partnership. If you let me go back to my world, I can teach you more things that could help you beyond just physical endurance. Understanding. Strategy. Compassion. A heavy silence settled over the chamber as the elders emerged from the shadows, their translucent forms flickering under the dim lights, whispering in deliberation. Ben stood his ground, his heart pounding. Finally, the lead elder stepped forward, its translucent skin shimmering under the pulsing lights. Human, it said, you have shown us a new perspective. We see now that strength is not merely physical, but also of the mind and heart. We will not hold you against your will. You are free to return to your people, but we hope you will choose to stay and teach us. Relief flooded Ben's body, and he exhaled a shaky laugh. Thank you. I'll need some time to think, but I think we can make something work. The general nodded, stepping forward and offering a single, massive hand. Ben hesitated for a second before shaking it, feeling the weight of an unspoken understanding. As Ben prepared to leave, he realized something profound. Sometimes, the strongest force in the universe wasn't power or dominance, but connection and understanding. And perhaps, the greatest battles were won not with weapons, but with open hands. With renewed confidence, Ben stepped out of the chamber, reflecting on how far he had come from an ordinary man to a bridge between species, proving that understanding was the most powerful force in the universe.